Hello, hello, hello. Ironically, I decided to pull into the Watermill Express fill-up stand. It's right behind me because I wanted to discuss water. I drink a lot of water. And because here in Florida, it's humid, you need to hydrate, the more you sweat, actually. And one of my girlfriends reminded me about a conversation we were having, I think about this same time last year, about how reverse osmosis water is apparently very acidic. But a lot of people, myself included, buy it because it's cleaned up and filtered out all the toxins. So it removes everything that is in the system, because here in Florida, we're on a peninsula. So water has to be cleaned up for us to utilize it. Unless you have access to a fresh spring, which is probably one of the best ways you're going to get alkaline water that is still full of some nutrients, some minerals. But essentially, reverse osmosis water is pretty much dead water. And if you dive deeper into all of this, we could talk about structured water and, how it doesn't align with our bodies. Like, our bodies are looking for something to absorb, to nourish. And alkaline water is going to be more absorbable and it's going to neutralize any type of acid in the body, any disease. And this starts in the mouth. Everything that we put in our mouth, we have to really be conscious of, because, again, this is the first place we start to digest food. And I know from my experience that when I put something in my mouth, if it's acidic, I want to rinse my mouth. I want to brush my teeth. If it's something that's food, you still got to get rid of the food particles, because anything that sits on the teeth gives food to the bacteria in your mouth. And so the bacteria, the good bacteria and the bad bacteria, we got to balance it out. This is a fact. If we have too much acid, you're feeding the bacteria whenever you put sugars or, I don't know, whatever the bacteria eats that's more acidic. And if you're at least high oxygenated in your mouth, then the bacteria can't live in an anaerobic oxygenated environment. So the reason I wanted to share this with you is because so many of us are drinking reverse osmosis water. And my girlfriend reminded me the other day. She said she called the Watermill Express and asked them specifically about the pH. This is the test. The pH of the water, the reverse osmosis water. And she called me back up and she reminded me, she said, Lana, you remember we were having that conversation? The man informed me, if you have dental issues, you should not be drinking this water. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did I drop off on that conversation? How did I forget about that? Well, of course, we need to be reminded. I know I do. And I'm grateful for people who go, remember we had that conversation? Sometimes I say stuff and I remind myself when I say it. Just like the oil pulling. I forgot all about how I used to do it daily, and so now I'm back to oil pulling. And I have a sensitivity in my teeth right now that is driving me up the wall. I'm trying to eat something. Certain teeth are just really standing out right now. These teeth here, all along, even the ones underneath where she filled in the tooth the other day, I'm like really concerned. And then I have a gum that's kind of irritated because it got a little too much rough. I think maybe when I was brushing my teeth because it was so tender. So the pH is more acidic with this reverse osmosis water. Now, I'm seeing this as something where I'm going to go home. I've ordered some pH strips through Amazon specifically because I want to test my saliva and my urine in the morning. I want to see where I'm at so that I can adjust myself. And I also want to test the water. And I will do a little clip video to share that with all of you so that you can get an update, and that maybe this will inspire someone else out there who will start doing this and avoid any type of dental issues as well as other health issues. Because if we're consuming foods or water, especially water, because this is what we're made of, 70 to 80% water, if we're consuming too much acidic water, then what are we doing? Are we really nourishing our bodies? Are we really hydrating? So these are the things I'm sharing with you through my own personal dental journey, I should say. I actually did a little research, and I was looking up, how can I alkalize the water? Now, the simplest, most intuitive mode is to put baking soda, because baking soda neutralizes. So I'm going to try that, and I'm going to test it with the strips as well, because I want to see how much it alkalizes and if it is effective. There are also ways like fresh lemons. If you take fresh lemon and squeeze it into water, now my research is telling, it says it has to be consumed and not see, what happens is, whenever you take a fruit or a vegetable, it oxidizes the moment you start cutting into it. And so the whole point of them is they're antioxidant. You have to consume them immediately. That's why if you juice, you want to consume immediately, because over the course of time, it turns to sugar and becomes oxidized. And you don't want to put oxidation into your system when you're already trying to reverse the free radicals, the damage within your body. You want to put antioxidants to reverse the damages of free radicals, and your bodies need to nourish. You need antioxidants to stay youthful, to keep your body optimal. So whenever we're doing something with food, we want to consider, how long is it going to sit before we consume it? If you're not going to consume it right away, then the last thing you should be doing is putting it in the fridge. You think you got a sealed tight, but maybe you don't. Maybe it isn't. And how much are you losing of the nutrients the longer it sits? I'm doing a liver detox at the moment because I was recommended to do that right now to kind of get rid of some of the toxins that have built up in my system. That particular drink I have to make every single morning after I do my practice and consume it when I make it. And it says specifically, if you make this drink, you have to do it when you're ready to drink it, because if you wait, it oxidizes. So going back to lemon water, if you're going to use lemon water, the research that I've found says don't buy the store stuff and stick it in your water. That's not necessarily effective. In fact, that's when it's acidic. You want to take a lemon and you want to slice it up and use it right then and there. And beyond 30 minutes, it's already oxidizing. The next alternative, other than alkalized water that you can find, whether it's spring water, you should test that as well, because maybe the spring water has something in it. You just never know. There are also these drops you can buy. I don't know specific names right now, but I have seen them and I have looked into them in the past. I just never bought them because I thought, oh, okay, that's nice. But they allow your body to absorb water more, and it's oxygenated. There's a couple different styles of drops out there. So you add that to your water and it increases your absorption rate, because if it's dead water, maybe it's actually causing your inflammation. Ever think about that? So water is so important. I mean, this planet, we have so much toxic stuff in the air, in our water, the environment. We're trying hard enough to eat healthy, but if our water that we're consuming isn't healthy, you want to stay away from fluoride. I mean, the stuff they put in our water is beyond what we need. And to top it off, it's a byproduct of industrial waste. I did that research years ago, but I don't trust my word. Do your own research. I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just sharing what I've learned through my own personal experience. When I was a child and I used to go to the dentist, I used to get cleanings every 6 months. My teeth are not as white as I feel they should be or could be or should have been and could have been. Because when I was younger, I used to be that child that was like, I was a good doobie. When a doctor said, you need to do this, I would listen. When a dentist put, those fluoride bites in my mouth, I just smile and say, okay. Because I thought back then they had my best interest at heart. Now, it's not to say that they didn't, but the information wasn't necessarily good for us. And so going back to fluoride bites, my research has come up that it's always been industrial waste. It was the byproduct of these big companies with gypsum, and they're producing, and they were trying to find a way to basically just get rid of it and not have to pay for it. Instead of hazardous waste, they turned it into a profit. You got to give them credit, because that's pretty ingenious. These big corporations have turned profit from something they were supposed to be paying hazmat for. Scary stuff. And fluoride is exactly what they used during the world wars in Jewish concentration camps to keep people submissive. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. I mean, we did take a lot of those scientists and employ them here in our country. But again, this is just stuff that I've learned over the years. And I don't expect anybody to believe me, because I don't expect anybody to believe anything anybody says. You should question everything you think you know, question everything you hear, and never attach to any one set of rules or beliefs. Because the world is ever changing. And such should be your belief system and what you see, and recognize that, you know what? We're all doing the best we can. So for yourself, do the research. Don't just take someone's word for it. Don't buy into media. Don't buy into this or that. Look it up yourself. Do your due diligence. And if you are consuming water, I want to inspire you to test it. Test the pH level. If you're dealing with any dental issues, do you drink soda? Do you drink fizzy, acidic things? Do you eat a lot of acid-based foods? Get yourself a chart that tells you the pH of everything that you consume, and find out if maybe you are over acidic, or even there is such a thing as being over alkaline. And it's all about finding balance in everything that we do. And the most important balance is going to be whatever works for you. And so you may have a certain type of blood, like I'm an O positive. They say I'm the original meat eater, but I don't even know if that means anything. I mean, I question that all the time. I question if my diet is healthy. I question if I'm eating optimally all the time. I know what really works for me, and when I feel the most clarity is when I eat whole foods that are not denatured, not processed, the closest to source. It's so much better when you get it from basically farm to table, right at the source. And there's so much more life force. That's just my experience. Maybe something else works for you. But there is no such thing as what works for me works for someone else. I mean, rights and wrongs, it doesn't exist. You just got to find it. And again, it's this finding the balance for you. So please, do your due diligence. Find out about water. What kind of water do you consume? I want to delve more into the structured water concept, because I understand when you start putting water through pipes and they're no longer in this free-flowing form from a stream, then it changes the molecular structure of the water itself. So even if it were alkaline, well, maybe it's not alive, because that's the other thing. We are living beings, and when we consume something, we want it to be live, not dead. Whether it's food, whether it's water, whether it's thoughts that are healthy for us or thoughts that are unhealthy for us. We have to really become mindful of everything we do, whatever we put in our body. And that starts with the mind, because I know for myself, when I get comfort food cravings, I said the other day I was craving you're going to laugh at this, but I was craving the cauliflower puffs, the vegan Robs. Now, It's still junk food. I don't care what anybody says. It's delicious, and it is highly addictive. They're probiotic. They're crunchy. They're salty. They're tasty. They're flavorful. My girlfriend and I were talking about it. We both ate a bag. I said, this is addictive, and I get it. I understand how addictive food is, because I myself can use food as the easiest distraction when I get bored, or I'm doing something and I'm like, nah, let me go find some food to, something's coming up. And a lot of times it's easier to grab food than to sit with whatever's bubbling up under the surface, literally. And it's a food to mouth. This is very much, it is one of the easiest things we can say, well, we need food. Do we really? What about breath? Some breath of fire. I do Kundalini yoga. Breath of fire will oxygenate the brain, the blood, the muscles, the tissues, the organs. Breath of fire is actually the easiest way to give yourself a boost. You don't need coffee. You can have lemon water. You can do breath of fire. And breath of fire is simply like a dog pants, with an equal inhale, equal exhale, but through the nose. So you can put your hand on your belly. You can stick your tongue out, pull in and up on the navel point. On the exhale, it's kind of like Kapalabhati for those people who do that kind of yoga that calls upon Kapalabhati, but it's equal inhale, equal exhale. You can go as fast or slow as you like. You can be and it could give you a lightheaded feeling, because what's happening is it's giving you a rush of oxygen to your brain. And where do we need oxygen the most? In our brains. And if our water is dead and has no oxygen in it, we're not getting any oxygen to our brain or our bloodstream, let alone our tissues. And our issues lie in our tissues, people. And this is one of the things. These tissues around my teeth are not happy right now. Now, I don't have periodontal disease from everything the dentists are telling me, but that doesn't mean that they're that healthy to begin with. And the dentist told me they're kind of cushy. Yes, I drink kombucha. I make kombucha. I love it. I love coffee. I love chocolate. I love a lot of things that are considered acidic. But the key is in finding balance. You can drink things that you enjoy. I'm not a huge proponent personally for sodas, because its sugars in those are processed and chemical, and a lot of it's GMO. But, if you like it, enjoy it. And don't beat yourself up about anything you put in your body, because there's an energy associated with what you put in your mouth and what you think about what you're putting in your mouth. That is a huge, huge, profound statement to say, and to even absorb and recognize, hey, where are my thoughts right now as I'm consuming this food? So we are putting unhealthy, toxic foods in our mouth, and maybe we're thinking healthy, toxic thoughts. I reach for something because I'm just bored. Oh, I shouldn't eat this, but I'm just shoving it in my mouth. I'm not nourishing my body. In fact, I'm doing quite the opposite. Because first off, if you're not enjoying it, what's the point of it? If you can just, with gratitude, enjoy whatever it is you put in your mouth, food, water, whatever it is, then maybe you can also change the molecular structure and the way that your body assimilates and utilizes that food as nourishment and fuel, and enhancing your life, your vitality. So I just wanted to share all of that with you. Thank you again to all of you who are showing up and donating and helping and sharing and inviting others to my cause. I have been looking into dental care. There's a lot of fine print, and I'm just going to share this with you. When you start going down the rabbit hole of insurance, it sounds all well and good. Oh, you only pay a certain amount per year. First off, there's going to be penalties. Second off, you got a waiting grace period. Third, a lot of them, they won't give you the optimal level of care that you need. They'll still be feeding you the amalgam mercury-based fillings. There's a couple that are supposedly VA or vet friendly, and then I read through the fine print and I see they only authorize fillings for the amalgam, which is the cheapest, and I can't believe they still use them here in the States. They don't even use them in other countries. I mean, they've been outlawed and haven't been used for years. I was in Italy and had to have dental work years ago, and they never used amalgam in my mouth. I'm like going, so why are we still using toxic chemicals? And mercury is so toxic to the brain. And the last thing we need to do is introduce more toxins into our bodies, which is why I wanted to share all this information with all of you. If we are more mindful, if we are more kind on our mind, we can reverse the aging process and the stress and everything else that causes us this pain, the suffering, this discomfort. Because I really do believe in order to find comfort, to find the root cause, literally, you got to go to the source and you got to be willing to sit with whatever it is. So thank you again. I hope this serves someone out there. If you have any insights or personal experiences into water, alkalized or what have you, please let me know in the comments. And again, share this video, share my fundraiser, invite people. Being a woman to ask for help is not always the easiest, and in some cases you feel like you're attacked for whatever. But I understand the dynamics of what's going on in the world today, and I don't want to be about dividing. I want to be about uniting. I want to be about, if someone's willing to help me, and I'm always willing to help others, we're going to go a lot further in this life. So let's have happy thoughts, loving thoughts for ourselves first. Compassion starts with self. We can't extend it without starting within. And let's uplift this world through taking care of one another. I really do believe in the power of this social media to unite and not divide. And those who are looking to divide are just simply in a state of discomfort. And so send those people love just as much. So have a wonderful evening. Be safe wherever you are. And pay attention to the water that you're drinking and whatever nourishing thoughts you're having. I love you. Thank you again to all you who have donated, and I will keep you updated. Good night.